This video is brought to you in part by Squarespace. Sonic Prime's third and final season has recently wrapped up and, well, seems we've been hobbited pretty hard. What should have been a fun short story turned into a bloated, tedious, repetitive journey that spent its last third in a giant, boring battle. One where everyone was fighting to, I guess, do the exact same thing. They all just wanted to put the prism back together, and then they did, and nothing of consequence happened. We had lingering questions on what would happen to the Shatterverse dimensions once this new stupid glowing rock was reformed, and well, like I said, everything turned out just fine. The alternate universes remain intact, Sonic's original world is restored, and all the friends go back to normal without ever learning about their counterparts. Was the Chaos Council a bunch of different Eggmen, or are they just extended family? Were the counterparts born from their original Prime Universe versions shattering? And does that make them illegitimate children? Who can say? I don't know if they had bolder ideas that never saw the light of day, and apparently the folks behind the show largely ignored the advice of Ian Flynn, and well, I think we all paid for that. They played this as safe as they possibly could, and in turn, the show will largely be remembered for putting its audience to sleep with its drawn-out story, which is ironic because I think this is the shortest run of any Sonic show out there. And while doing research for this video, I learned that Sonic Underground has almost twice as many episodes as Sonic SatAM, and that just feels gross. Prime started strong and stumbled across the back half, which, well, depending on who you ask, is largely in line with a lot of the quality of Sonic games. And it's a shame this what part of a finale will largely be what this show is remembered for, because it did have some really cool ideas on display, but even then, they didn't quite live up to their entire potential. I mean, if you managed to make Sonic robots boring to me, of all people, you really goofed. Still, I did enjoy those robots, big especially, and we will be talking about them all in a dedicated video, and a lot of the characterization of the characters got a lot of praise from fans, and for good reason. Just, we would have liked to have seen more of those characters. Rouge, I thought, was really well voiced and characterized for the whole 15 seconds we got to see from her before they turned her into Sally Acorn. And don't at me, that entire premise is just the Freedom Fighters. They even have a badass cyborg lady on the team. Captain Dread was alright for an episode, and then he got obnoxious, and then they forgot about him. And then they gave Raphael Knuckles this cool little spotlight near the end, even though it wasn't earned at all. Yeah, I joke about the Brooklyn accent, but this was the best version of Knuckles in the show, and I don't know why they gave him two voice actors. And of course, Shadow is going to be getting all the praise from the Adventure fans and Sonato shippers, for sure. Stoic, no nonsense, but level-headed and reasonable. And one of the only characters who didn't get split into 4 different goofy versions, so they actually got to show off what he's supposed to be. Again, for the time we get to see him. Sonic himself, a little bit more apologetic than I would like, is for the most part a lot of fun and voiced really well. Honestly, I'm a big fan of a lot of the voices here. Far more than we've heard from other recent projects, and I hope they get used more often. They really were a highlight. But if there was one element that stood out among the rest, and yet still seemed to be underutilized, it would have to be the show's secret antagonist, Nine, the alternate reality version of Tails, who, as the show itself shows, is a genius sidekick of Sonic and a great balance to the reckless nature of the Hedgehog, showing endless patience and a level head, but also being blatantly ignored by his best friend, which probably leaves a fox with some underlying self-confidence issues, something expanded on a little bit more in Sonic Frontiers, and yeah, like I've said before, living in the shadow of the likes of Sonic will do that. But Nine, while he has all the genius and capability of mainline Tails, he trades out that calm and gentle nature for a short temper, a lot of aggression, complete lack of trust in anybody but himself, and also a huge ego. He knows what he's capable of. And as a surface level description, you could just describe this guy as Evil Tails, which is something we have seen played around with a couple of times, largely in the comics, and to largely good effect for what those characters were doing. But there is more to Nine than just being an evil counterpart. This isn't just Tails, but bad for no reason. This is a Tails who grew up without Sonic's mentorship. And while the show does play up a lot of negative aspects of his aggression, we do also have a Tails who doesn't stand in his own way. In a world that Eggman has conquered, in that kind of a cruel reality, Tails had to toughen up to survive. And as the series carried on, not only does he survive, he thrives, and eventually has so much power that he threatens the very existence of the Shatterverse, able to take on the likes of Knuckles, Shadow, 5 different Eggmen, their army, and Sonic himself. I also love that Tails, who has been compared to the 9-tailed fox of mythology, Nine's mechanical extra tails feels like the fox is merging his natural physical abilities with his technical prowess to unlock his full potential. Even when he's captured, he's still playing the Eggman for fools the entire time. And as someone in my comments described him, he's a lot like Evil Morty, but for kids. And I'd have to agree, that was the first comparison I made in my head when I was watching this latest batch of episodes. For those unfamiliar, the show Rick and Morty deals with a lot of alternate reality shenanigans. Morty is a sidekick character often overlooked and considered something of an idiot compared to his genius grandfather Rick. But the show constantly shows us there's more to the kid than even he realizes. That is until the reveal of Evil Morty, one of the first major antagonists who was using his own version of Rick to remain hidden in the shadows as he carried on with his own plans, eventually becoming a president and even helping mainline Rick find a way to destroy his evil adversary who he had been hunting his entire life, all because this nonsense was an inconvenience to Evil Morty. The mainline story of the show is just an annoying afterthought to this character. He's super smart, super capable, and makes not just mainline Morty, but Rick himself look completely inadequate. All because this is a Morty who applied his best abilities. And the same can be said for Nine. The moment he decided to stop being an ally to Sonic, he immediately became the biggest threat across the entire universe, forcing foes to work together to take him down, and even then, he largely ended his assault willingly. All that is really interesting to me as a longtime fan because, really, this could be Tails if he had a bad enough day. Remember, this is still largely the same character, he just grew up under different circumstances. And there is still a good heart under all of it, like Prime Tails. We see that yearning for a connection when Sonic first meets the kid, and he only goes full supervillain once Nine feels he is scorned by the Blue Hedgehog. But it's still an idea the franchise has only ever flirted with. I think that's why the adventure games found a lot of Fox fans. He went from being a nobody in Eggman's eyes to being the direct rival to the Mad Doctor in Game 2. And Frontiers shows us exactly what I've been saying. Eggman sees the potential of the Fox but knows that the biggest obstacle standing in front of his own potential is Tails himself. Despite its flaws, Sonic Prime shows us just how great of a threat Tails can be if he didn't have those insecurities or that kind heart. Sonic would deal with a menace that not only matches Robotnik, but potentially was in a league all his own. Now, mainline Sonic stuff will likely always remain pretty static and always return to the status quo, and Tails will remain the genius sidekick to Sonic, so he can fly in plane levels nobody has ever asked for. And that's what makes these alternate reality stories so much fun. What if Tails was evil? Or not even that, what could he accomplish if he was just a little bit more selfish and angry? This shows us a character who is far more capable than even the baddest of bad guys this series has had to offer. And on a more positive note, it can also show us the kind of person Tails can grow up to be. Not in a universe-conquering kind of way, but what if he used that genius for good? It shows us this Fox is capable of more than just fixing up planes or translating sperm language through that leapfrog tablet of his. Now, don't get me wrong, the show was far from perfect. All they really had him do was build up a crystal palace and shoot lasers. The last bit of Prime is a dud on all fronts, but I really wouldn't mind if they kept Nine around and used him somewhere else down the road. Maybe in the hands of Ian Flynn. The guy was going somewhere with that evil Miles back in Archie, and Kitsunami, while not a one-for-one comparison, certainly has some fun parallels. I think Nine stands toe-to-toe with those other Dark Mirror characters and shows us another side to this beloved Fox in ways Kit and Miles can't. And besides, I'd love to see mainline Tails and Nine go at it. It's a shame they never got to match wits. I mean, they had 2 other versions of Tails in that final fight, and they were mostly useless through the whole thing. Oh well, like I said, show's not perfect, but it certainly had some things worth celebrating. 9 of them, by my count. Before we wrap up for today, I want to take a moment to talk about today's sponsor, Squarespace. Jumping online and building up your own brand was always an intimidating thing for me, but Squarespace makes that a streamlined, fast, and easy process, all while making you look good thanks to their Fluid Engine, a next-generation website design tool that lets you tweak any of their many templates with easy-to-use drag-and-drop tools. And I don't need to tell you how useful websites can be, whether you want to build up a portfolio of your work, an art gallery, gallery, or a shop, because yes, they have everything you need to run your own online business, including analytics that help show you the strongest avenues of growth and help you build up marketing strategies, which include integration with your favorite social media networks. And they can even help you set up an online shop to sell and distribute custom merch. All you have to do is design it and they'll handle production, inventory, and shipping. Really doesn't get any easier than that. And to make it just a bit easier, if you use my link, squarespace.com/gameapologist, you'll get 14 days for free, which is plenty of time to see if this is right for you. And when you want to make a purchase, that same link will get you 10% off your first order. Thank you again to Squarespace for sponsoring the video. So yeah, there you go, keeping it nice and short today. Just wanted to take a quick look at one of the outstanding elements of a show that's gonna be getting a lot more hate than it probably deserves. There are a lot of things worth celebrating here, and I thank you for hanging out and celebrating this one particular character with me. But that is going to do it for today, guys. Just want to take a quick second to thank all the folks over on Patreon who've been supporting me. That include Kyle Winter, Cyrus the Skeptic, Joseph Duncan Sonic 2 Blue, Josh Strider, Casey Prime, Trey Nobles, Hatsworth, Tiny Jericho, Ginger Bob, Jack of All Spades, Tristan Trap, Makers, Dun Dun, Quote, Resident Fanboy, Miles the Prower, Singer J199, Sam Webster, Fish Flop, Lucas Lipker, The Bad Pal, Jonathan Dobbs, Clover Chats, Chad, Super Hyper Mecha SP Mark II, Cecil the Gallade, Stefan Platonica, 3 Monic, Graham J. Hall, Lenny X, Wayne is Boss, Lederick, Dava Twa Naka. Oh, no idea what that was. Kaylee Ann Williams, Jimmy Duke STR, The Lumberjack, Trash Baphomet, Enerjack 5, Grayson Coniger, Spades the Nocturne, Ken K of Warheads, Ven 101, Paxton Bisbeeson, Darren 7, Small Winter Bunby in a Scarf Dreaming of Spring, Twilord, New Year, New Pair of Underpants, that's right, I change them yearly, Paisley, Eric Delgado, Crimson Rose, Nix the Kobold, Sonic PAJ, Municent, Roxas the Cat, Godzilla, Makuta of Salt, Gleam the Anomaly, Back to Normal. As you can guess, I haven't been able to update this as often before. It's all good, Gleam. Alexander Watson, Neil Gampa, Conan Kudo, the Lex, the most powerful ship in the 2 universes, Native Nerd 27, Kaido Prower, Swift Cannon, Spearmint, Audible Deep Inhale. I'm not screaming, the house is trying to sleep, but thank you for your support. Omega Man 21, Penn Adelaide, Jamie Torres Jr., The Phantomist, Silver Stars, Daza S, the world's most unironic 8.5 tail stand, one more Sonic robot. SP is currently undergoing an identity crisis, so he created Evil Clone SP, MT Mecha, Yasai, Gob, Charles the Green Dragon, Boatin here to remind everyone that manatees are awesome, and the RSI. Guys, thank you so much for all your support. I know it's been a long time since I've recorded anything, and I'm trying to get back on track, so thank you all so much for your patience and your generosity. It means more than I can ever describe. But until next time, I'll catch you all later. Toot toot, Sonic Warriors. You know, now that I think about it, if you're gonna make an evil version of Tails, should they just call them Heads?